Everyone knows the country is facing a cost of living crisis with the increase in fuel and food. It's very easy to feel that there's nothing that can be done. We feel a sense of despair. Today, I've come to an organisation which is showing that we need not despair, and that by careful, creative planning, there's a way of responding well to the crisis. I've come to Well-Fed in Shotton. Welcome to the place where food really matters. Joining me at Well-Fed is Robbie Davison, the director of this extraordinary organisation. Robbie, it's great to be here, for you to invite us to share with you. If people eat well, they cope well. Love that. What is Well-Fed all about?
Well-Fed's a social business, and for me, when we set the company up, we've always tried to see the end and start and work our way back. So Well-Fed is about you and I, and everybody, regardless of income, being able to eat well by choice, and that's really important. People, the food that we make, I want people to choose it for themselves.
Why is food so important?
You know, I think food's amazing. We've just eaten together, and we're chatting. It's social. It's about well-being. It's transformational. It's the routine of our lives. Interestingly, we all operate our lives through food, and so it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, or tea, whatever you call it, and that's the most important thing. Fit in with that, give people the structure of that through their lives, and they will live much better.
You've had a huge impact already here in Shotton. The organisation is growing. You've got some plans to expand even further, but basically your passion is to enable people to not go hungry and to eat really well. Tell us a little bit about the story of Well-Fed.
We started 17 years ago as Can Cook, moved into Wales as Well-Fed, and the story was I noticed people not being able to cook, so hence the name then, Can Cook, and we said, okay, if we can teach people to cook, they're more likely to be able to cope in the wider world. If they're not cooking and they're just eating processed food, they're more likely to be ill, become obese, to struggle. So that was the real driver at the time. How do we create a food business that engages with people on their terms? And that's what we did right at the start.
Your vision here with this organisation is to run a social enterprise, a social business. How does that actually work?
A social business uses its profits for public good. This year we retained £200,000 worth of profit because of our business activities. We will use that £200,000 to feed people well. We will subsidise meals on their behalf.
That's extraordinary. That's taken an awful lot of work to get to where you are now. We're facing a real crisis in the country at the moment where people are worried about the cost of living, about whether or not they can cook, whether or not they can heat the food. You're able to provide something that has enormous benefit to people in real trouble at the moment.
There's a big discussion right now about heat and eat, and what's been interesting is we've seen the government subsidise utilities for us all. Interestingly, imagine if the government subsidised food. Imagine if the government chose and said, we're going to subsidise food for everybody, because actually it's more important than heat. People will live if they eat and are cold, but if they're cold and they haven't eaten, they're more likely to struggle. So wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if good food was subsidised by the government and by the private sector?
Now you've got some big plans for this place. You want to expand. Tell me a little bit about that.
We want to be 3 times the size within the next 6 months. And the reason we say that, that's not wild ambition. It's because that's where the need is. Let's use business terms. There's a market there. The market wants us to be there. We've worked really hard to get to this point, but the market wants us to be there. We're ready to be in the market. We just need to be able to resource it in order for in the next 6 months to be 3 times the size.
So Well-Fed is already providing meals for schools though, isn't it? It's already providing meals for older people's homes.
Yeah, it is. We're providing meals for holiday hunger. We're providing meals we do mobile shops. We're providing our own version of food banks. We're doing all of these things, and we're doing all these things because we decided to be a social business that was going to contact ourselves with need and make sure we produce a fantastic product on their behalf.
The big question for people watching today is, how can they help?
through you, let me speak to you.
Yeah.
Let me speak to Welsh Government. Social businesses like this need investment. We've got the intellectual capital ready. We've worked really hard to develop that, and we know what to do with it. We are always under-resourced. We must not treat social problems by looking at it through the charity prism. We must use this social business type model in order to connect with change. As an employer, we employ people, give them the jobs. But out there where people are struggling, let's make sure that we connect with them where their need is. You can do that through social business. You can do that much less through charity.
So it's a really hard-edged business model, but one that has enormous potential for helping people in real need.
Yeah, we will compete with anybody when it comes to the business side of food. For people to eat well, it's said that if you buy the same amount of poor food as good food, it costs £5 more. We're trying to bridge that £5 gap on behalf of people who need it. And that's what we're using our business model to do.
It's been really inspiring to come back and see your work here. And on behalf of the Church in Wales, we offer our support, our advocacy. We want to be partnering with you. Thanks once again for spending time with us and once again inspiring us by what you're doing for this country.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin.
Cheers.
I hope today has inspired you and shown you that we can make a difference together. Please do join the Church in Wales Food and Fuel campaign. Visit the Church in Wales website or any of our social media posts and you'll find more information there. Perhaps most of all though, do try and support the work of Welfare. They are an exemplar, showing us that together we really can make a difference. Thanks for watching.